This is one of Fitness Blender's upper body resistance band workouts. In this routine, we're going to be going through 3 different rounds of 6 exercises. You're going to need a resistance band and a door anchor or a wall attachment. Most exercise band kits come with a door anchor, but if you don't have one, you can just use the handle off of one of the other bands. Now, as you get set up for round number 1, keep in mind you may need a few different levels of exercise bands to get through this whole routine. Let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, the standing close row. With this one, you want to use that door anchor right around that rib cage level. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start them up. So you can step back away from that door to get that tension. And then nice and slow, draw those elbows back behind you. Trying to keep that forearm nice and parallel to the ground the entire time. Let those arms stretch forward as far as is comfortable, as far as they'll go. Then nice and slow, squeeze those elbows back nice and tight. Getting those hands right up next to that rib cage before you slowly let those arms come back out. Now the key with this one is make sure you have that motion really nice and controlled, really nice and slow. Don't jerk that motion back. You're actually going to have to lean away from that band a little bit to help you counterbalance the weight of that band pulling you forward. Now if you start doing this motion really quickly, all you're going to do is get a whole lot of body motion rocking back and forth rather than a nice slow contraction drawing those arms back using those biceps and those rhomboids. So take your time, do a nice slow draw, pulling those arms back, nice and slow, extending those arms back out, making sure that back stays perfectly flat, nice neutral spine, making sure that you're leaning back from those ankles so you're tilting back from that foot rather than from that hip or from that chest to help you counterbalance the weight that's pulling against you with those elastic bands. And we're almost done, just one more. Nice slow contraction, pulling those arms back, slowly back forward. And let it relax. Alright, let's go ahead and switch around. We'll do a chest press next, the exact opposite motion of what we just did. So go ahead and leave that door anchor in the exact same spot it was. Go ahead and get ready. And start them up. So curl those bands up to your shoulders, step forward to get that tension on there. Then nice and slow, chest press straight in front of your chest. Nice and slow, dropping those arms back out to your sides. You want to try to keep a nice straight line from your forearm all the way straight back towards the door behind you. Nice slow press going straight out, ending with those hands right in front of those shoulders. Then as you slowly drop back, you're kind of making a half circle as those arms come out to the side. And then slowly back in, those fists come a little bit closer to those shoulders, those elbows drop back behind you. Just keep that motion going nice and slow under control. Again, you're going to have to counterbalance that weight of the elastic band by leaning forward this time to keep that weight in those bands. Otherwise, if you're standing perfectly straight up, it's just going to pull you over backwards. Now make sure you're doing that little bit of a forward lean and always coming all the way from that ankle, so you're leaning forward from that ankle this time instead of leaning back like you were for the last exercise. Just keep that little bit forward tilt just to make sure you're balanced in there, make sure you have enough tension on those bands. Nice slow controlled motions with that chest press. And just one more full repetition. Slowly pressing it forward and slowly dropping it back and let it relax. Alright, go ahead and drop those bands. We're going to switch that door anchor down to the very, very bottom of that door and go ahead and lay down flat on your back for this one. We're doing lateral pulls next. Go ahead and get ready. And start them up. So starting on the ground, you're going to need to move away from the wall as far as you can. Those hands up above your head. Draw those hands down, elbows tucking to your rib cage and slowly drawing them right back up again. Again, nice slow controlled motion. Now with this one, because you're laying on the ground, you don't have to worry about any kind of counterbalance or anything like that. You just need to get yourself far enough away from the base of that door that you have enough tension on those bands. Just keep that motion going, nice and slow to control. Just breathing normally, trying to keep those lungs open. And we're almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Nice slow controlled motion. Tight squeeze, pulling those elbows down. One last one. Slowly back up. And let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and move on to that next exercise. We're going to be doing a shoulder press. Let's go ahead and take that band off of that door anchor. We're going to be standing up with that band looped underneath your feet this time. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Curl that band up to those shoulders. Nice and slow. Press your hands directly above that shoulder. So we're doing the exact opposite motion of what we just did. Instead of pulling down, we're now pushing up. So try to keep that hand right above that elbow joint. Nice slow press up. Always trying to keep that forearm perpendicular to the ground. Nice slow controlled motion. Try to get a full extension on that arm without completely locking your elbow. Then nice and slow, letting those hands drop back down to about shoulder height before you press them right back up again. Now, a lot of times with this exercise, people have a bit of a tendency to tilt their chest up towards the ceiling as they get higher and higher towards that press to make it a little bit easier for your shoulders by working into that chest just a little bit. So make sure you're keeping that chest perfectly straight up and down, a nice neutral spine, never letting that lower back arch, never letting that chest tilt up towards the ceiling. Now, if you're finding that you're having a little bit of difficulty getting those arms straight up above your shoulder without letting them tip over forward, or you have to lean your chest back too much to get them straight up in the air, then that means that shoulder joint is a little bit too tight. So you're going to want to really focus on doing some flexibility exercises to loosen up that shoulder a little bit to regain some of that range of motion. So that was your last one right there, and go ahead and let it relax. We'll move on to the next exercise, the bicep curls. Now you can move up to a heavier band for this one if you want to, or if you just pull a little bit more band up between those feet, makes the tension increase just a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Nice slow contraction, keeping those elbows right next to that rib cage, nice and slow, pulling those hands up to that shoulder. Tight squeeze at the very, very top. Make sure you don't kick those elbows forward. You want to keep them tucked right back next to your sides. And slowly drop those hands right back down to a full extension, then slowly bring them right back up. Remember, nice slow controlled motion. Tight squeeze at the top every single time. Make sure that back stays nice and flat, nice neutral spine. And we're almost done. Just 2 more full repetitions. Nice slow squeeze, getting that hand up to that shoulder. Slowly back down to a full extension. Keep that bicep just a little bit contracted, and then right back up. And go ahead and let it relax. All right, let's go move on to that next exercise. We're doing an overhead tricep extension, one arm at a time. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. You're going to start with that left hand first, so loop that band underneath your left foot. That left hand's going to come up back behind that left shoulder and then extend straight up above your head, only bending from that elbow. You want to keep that shoulder socket really nice and solid. Straight line from your elbow right down into that shoulder. Nice flat neutral spine. And then one leg kind of kicked out to the side just to keep that band out of the way so it's not rubbing up your back. So just keep that motion going. Elbow straight up above that shoulder. Nice slow contraction right up and back down. Just got a few more to go. Just 2 more repetitions left. Nice slow contraction. Remember, keep that upper arm nice and straight. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and switch sides. Do the same exact motion on the opposite side. Loop that band underneath that right foot. Your right hand comes up behind your head. Nice slow contraction on that side. Same exact motion. Make sure that upper arm stays perfectly straight up and down. That back stays neutral. Try to keep those shoulders as level as possible. Try not to let them tilt too much. Nice slow contraction. Squeezing that hand out. Get to full extension on that arm, but don't lock it out all the way. And then nice and slow, that hand drop back down. Almost done. Just 2 more repetitions. Keep that upper arm nice and straight up and down. 1 more. And let it relax. All right, good job. That was your last exercise for that round. We're done with round number 1, so go ahead and pause it here if you need a little extra rest. Otherwise, we're going to start right back into round number 2 in just a second. All right, let's go and get started with round number 2, starting back over with the standing close rows. Now remember, you're going to want to have that door anchor right about rib cage level for this one. And let's start them up. So go ahead and step back away from that door, get that tension going, lean back away from that band to counterbalance the tension of that band, and then nice and slow, draw those hands in, squeeze that elbow back behind you, then nice and slow back out. Remember, the slower you go, the better control you're going to have, and the more isolation you're going to get on that muscle rather than getting that body to sway back and forth because of the tension of the band. So just take your time, nice slow movements. Almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Keep that motion nice and slow under control. Tight squeeze at the back. And this is your last one right here. Slowly back out. And let it relax. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next exercise, the chest press. We're just going to turn you around 180 degrees, facing the opposite direction. Same motion, just pushing instead of pulling. Go ahead and get ready. And start them up. Go ahead and step away from that door. Get that tension going in that band, leaning forward just a little bit from that ankle. Slowly pressing those hands straight out in front of that chest, and then nice and slow, let those elbows drop back as far as is comfortable. Then nice and slow, pressing it out again. Remember, you want to try to keep a nice straight line through that forearm all the way back towards that door, making sure you're keeping a straight line from your wrist all the way down to that elbow, pointing straight forward away from you. Now also, you want to check that back, make sure you have a nice flat back, keeping a neutral spine. You don't want to tip your chest forward, leaning your shoulders forward, or lean your chest back. Just keep focusing on keeping everything really nice and straight, nice, slow, controlled motions, because if you start moving too fast, your body's going to start waving back and forth. Just keep everything nice and solid. You want that body almost perfectly stationary the entire time. And we are almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Nice slow press straight forward in front of your chest. Slowly let it drop back, 1 more. Slowly back again. And let it relax. Alright, go ahead and drop those hands. We're moving on to the next exercise, the lateral pull downs. Now don't forget, you're going to want to move that door anchor down to the base of that door for this exercise. Go ahead and get ready. And start them up. Remember, grab those bands, walk away from that door, get that tension on there, then you're going to lay down flat on your back. Make sure you're far enough away to keep that tension. Slowly draw those elbows down to your sides, get a nice tight squeeze, then slowly let them come right back up again. Full extension, and then right back down. Just keep that motion going nice and slow under control. Keep that back in a nice neutral position. Just make sure you're keeping a nice, slow, controlled motion. Don't let yourself start going too fast. Almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Keep it slow. Nice tight contraction, bring those elbows down your sides, back up. We got 1 more. Slowly back down again, nice tight squeeze. And let it relax. Alright, go ahead and stand up, loop that band underneath your feet. We've got the shoulder press next. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Bring those hands up to those shoulders, just outside shoulder width, and then press them straight up over top of your head. Nice and slow back down. Try to control that motion as best you can, keeping that forearm pointing straight up and down as best as possible. Keep that wrist right above that elbow the entire time. It's really important to make sure you don't let that chest tilt. You want to keep a nice neutral spine. Pressing those hands as straight up as you can. Don't let that elbow lock out completely. You want to go to a full extension, but you don't want to lock those elbows. Then nice and slow, let them drop back down before you start that motion again. And we're almost done, just 2 more full repetitions. Slowly press it back up. Nice full extension of that arm without locking that elbow out all the way, and then slowly back down. You got 1 more. Slowly back down, and let it relax. All right, let's go and move on to that next exercise. We're doing the bicep curls next. Now, don't forget you might need a heavier band for this one, or you'll at least need to pull up some extra slack between those feet to make the tension a little bit harder. All right, let's go ahead and start up. Nice slow curl. Bring that fist all the way up to that shoulder, nice and tight. Just make sure you're keeping that elbow tucked to your side. You don't want to let that elbow rock forward or pull back behind you too far. You want to try to keep that upper arm perfectly straight up and down, that elbow directly underneath that shoulder joint the entire time. Just keep that motion going nice and slow under control. And just 2 more repetitions, a nice slow contraction. Tight squeeze all the way up to that shoulder. 1 more. And let it relax. All right, good job. Let's move on to that tricep extension. The last exercise for this round, starting with that left leg first. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Go ahead and loop that band underneath your left foot first. Bring that left hand up to that shoulder, elbow straight up in the air, then press that hand straight up above that shoulder. Now just focus on getting a nice slow contraction, pressing that hand directly above that shoulder, only hinging from that elbow, making sure that upper arm stays perfectly straight up and down. Just a slow contraction, straight up. And we're almost done with that left side, just 2 more repetitions. 1 left, nice slow contraction, squeeze it up. And let it relax. Go ahead and switch sides. So cross that band over to that right foot. Bring that right hand up over top of that shoulder. Nice slow squeeze, moving only from that elbow, ending with that fist directly above that shoulder joint, then slowly dropping it down, back behind that back. Make sure that upper arm stays perfectly straight up and down the entire time. It's going to want to move around on you quite a bit, but try to keep it as stationary as possible. Also check that back, make sure that back is nice and flat, you have a neutral spine, and watch those shoulders. You're going to try to kick on you and bring that right shoulder up above that left to try to keep them as flat as you can. And we are almost done, just 2 more repetitions, nice slow squeeze. So 1 more, bring it up. And let it relax. All right, that is the end of round number 2. Go ahead and pause it here if you need a little extra rest or if you need a drink of water. Otherwise, we'll be starting back into round number 3 here in just a second. All right, let's go and start round number 3, starting back over with the standing close row. Now, don't forget, you want to have that door anchor right about chest level. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Go ahead and step back away from that door, get that tension. Nice and slow, lean into it. Make sure you're counterbalancing the tension on that band. Then slowly draw those hands back behind you. Nice tight squeeze. Then slowly let those arms right back out, as full of extensions as comfortable. Then nice and slow, squeeze them right back in. Just make sure you remember to focus on keeping that back really nice and flat. Don't let your torso tip forward. You want to keep a straight line from shoulder all the way down to your ankle, leaning back from your ankle rather than just from that torso or from that hip. Keep a nice straight and neutral spine as well. Straight leg, a little bit of a bend in that knee. You don't want to lock it out completely. And we're almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Bring it back for a nice tight squeeze. Slowly back out. Squeeze it back again, there's your last one. Back out. And let it relax. All right, good job. Let's go ahead and move to that chest press. The exact opposite motion of what we were just doing. Go ahead and get ready. And start it up. Bring those hands up to those shoulders. Walk away to get that tension in that band. Then slowly press those hands straight out in front of that chest and slowly back again. Remember, trying to get a nice straight line through your body, tipping forward from that ankle to help you with that counterbalance. Nice slow motion to make sure you're not wobbling around and losing control with that band. And we're almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Nice slow press. Slow let those arms drop back, keep those elbows up nice and high. 1 more. Press it out. Slowly back. And let it relax. All right, go and drop that band. We're moving on to the lateral pull downs next. So go ahead and set that door anchor nice and low on that door. Pull that band out and go and lay down flat on your back. Go ahead and get ready. And start them up. Nice slow pull, bring that elbow down to that rib cage nice and tight, slowly letting those arms come back all the way up to a full extension before you bring those arms right back down. So make sure you're keeping that back nice and flat, nice neutral spine. You don't want to flatten that back out completely against the ground. You want to keep that spine nice and neutral. Now just keep focusing on keeping that motion nice and slow under control. And we're almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Nice slow pull, bring those elbows down to your sides. Slowly back up. Got 1 more. Tight squeeze. And let it relax. All right, good job. That one is done. Now we're going to move on to that next exercise, the shoulder press. Go ahead and stand up for this one. We're looping that band underneath those feet. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Bring those hands all the way up to the outside of that shoulder. Slowly press those hands directly above that shoulder joint. Nice tight squeeze, full extension on that arm. Just keep that elbow just slightly bent. You don't want to completely lock it out. Then nice and slow, drop it right back down as low as is comfortable. Then slowly press it right back up. Now really be conscious of making sure that you're keeping that back really nice and flat, keeping a neutral spine, that natural curve in that lower back. You don't want to overextend it by tilting that chest up towards the ceiling or rolling those shoulders forward. You want to keep it a nice straight line. And we are almost done, just 2 more full repetitions. Nice slow press up over your head. Slowly back down. 1 more to go. Slow press. And slowly let it relax back down. And let it release. All right, let's go and move on to that next exercise, the bicep curl. Remember, you might need a little bit heavier band for this one or pull up some slack between those feet. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Nice tight squeeze, pulling that fist right up to that shoulder. Make sure you're getting a really tight squeeze on that bicep every single time, but watch that elbow. Make sure it's not kicking forward on you. Make sure it's not bringing too far back. You want it straight underneath that shoulder the entire time. You only want that motion coming from that elbow joint through that forearm. That upper arm should be completely stationary. And just 2 more to go. Nice slow contraction all the way up to that shoulder. Slowly back down. 1 more. All the way back out. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to that tricep extension, the last exercise of this round. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Loop that band underneath that left foot. That left hand's come up behind that left shoulder, elbow straight up in the air. Then press that hand right above that shoulder joint. Get a nice straight line from that wrist all the way down to that shoulder. But make sure you don't completely lock out that elbow. You want to keep that elbow just a little bit soft. Then drop that hand back down to as low as is comfortable before pressing it right back up. Now focus on trying to keep that upper arm nice and straight, that elbow directly above that shoulder the entire time. Almost done, just 2 more repetitions. Slowly back down, just 1 more. Full extension, a little bit soft on that elbow, then back down and let it relax. All right, go ahead and switch sides. Loop that band underneath that right foot, bring that right hand back up by that right shoulder, elbow directly above that shoulder, and then press that hand straight up above that shoulder. Remember, you want to keep a nice straight line on that upper arm. You want that elbow directly above that shoulder joint the entire time. Try to only get that motion coming through that forearm, bending at that elbow. Nice full extension every single time. Keep that motion nice and slow under control. And we are almost done with this routine. Just 2 more repetitions. Nice and slow back down. You got 1 left. Full extension, but keep that elbow soft. And let it relax. All right, good job. This workout is complete. You just finished one of Fitness Blender's home resistance band workouts.